steel quality wasn't good enough. We were building the steel crane or something like that, and I'm sure probably Mr. Brown or someone had something to do with it. But basically, we were building the crane, the big huge cranes, and the Irish people or the Irish people didn't have good enough steel. My metallurgist looked at the steel and they said it's not good enough. Um, so the Ireland couldn't really do the steel. I don't know why not exactly. Irish people had good steel, should have had good metallurgists, and there were some of the best metallurgists around there. But generally, Germans were actually were just slightly better metallurgists, and it was kind of like a friendly war sometimes. And actually, believe it or not, like I say, the problem was really keeping them off the crane. you know, they would climb all over it, no problem, and then they would fall to their death and die. And it's like, no, you're not going to be doing that. You're not going to be climbing on that crane. You're not going to be. You're going to be working. If you're going to be working up there, you're going to be working on some sort of safety harness. And like I said, um, they didn't want to use the safety harnesses. They thought, why, or whatever, or it's all in what you're used to. And I said, no, you're not. I'm not going to be, because if you die, then that's my fault. You know, if you're working for me and you fall off, because we had like a couple hundred people dying and stuff like that. They would fall to their death all the time, like lose their grip or something and slip and then that's another person that gets a coffin box. And sometimes 5 coffin boxes. There's a whole shop for them. Normally I sold them, but to the townspeople or to or just supplied them to my workers because it's like, so people started noticing there's another 30 coffin boxes showing up today. It's like, yeah, last week. And so because the coffin boxes would also, all my operations, the whole town basically. So anyone that died in the town, there's like 5 old people and, whatever. Oh yeah, and Sally Mae and her daughter got run over last week, and stuff like that. So anyway, so Samuel was this guy that everyone was quite smitten with, I guess you could say, or whatever. Everyone liked him or something like that. And he was, I guess, a good Irishman or a good Scotsman or someone like that. Anyway, though, I didn't really mind. I laughed when the girl told me about Samuel and everything. Samuel this, Samuel that, and I was like, so Samuel's your leader now. And I just kind of laughed because it's like, well, I'm glad you have some good leadership now. And I was going on to flight and, my new big thing, which was basically pioneering an aircraft company. I was like, oh, he's pioneering a new aircraft company. It's like, yep, LS. So we were starting by the time before this Titanic 2 got built, maybe, or one of the Titanics, we started the flight company, and I was hemorrhaging money, and it was like, yeah, like that kind of stuff. And like, yeah, just like the engine quits and dies and crashes, and it's like, oh yeah, clogged fuel line. Like I said, the fuel quality wasn't all that great, so there was a lot of problems with the engines. They would cut out on people and stuff like that, and it's like I can't do a passenger service. Safety's my thing. Like a little bit of bad press or a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I'm the one that sunk. So basically, they were perfecting the engines and all that. So I was reviewing that, and so my LS shipyard, my LC shipyard, were just happily working along, doing their thing. So anyway, but when they were doing the crane, though, I was the one who was looking at or my people. I was one that was looking at the death rates, and I was like, these death rates are way too high. There's something wrong. I mean, they got to do something. So we started a project on safety harnesses. So I had Samuel or somebody. I was like, well, you're gonna do safety harnesses. So that's one of the things that the Germans paid money for and did. Basically, the Germans were doing everything for me. So basically, paying for safety harnesses, and the guys would practice on the safety harnesses, in case they dropped, and they would practice like letting go from an object and then looking, because sometimes when you let go with some of the safety harnesses, you go, bong, right back into the ship. It's like, ah. Like, well, he wouldn't fall to his death, but he got a head injury, from hitting the side of the ship. So they're working on a better safety harness because they tried a safety harness from like the front and a rope, and then the safety harness would grab, and we'd always have like a backup safety harness for or a net at the bottom. I think they had a net, and there's pictures of all this. There's a net and a big thing side of a barn or something like that, and then the guys are just laying in there and show them go. Yeah, no, it's not gonna work. So like I say, slowly but for surely on the Titanic or the Ellis shipyard, we developed to the 4-point, suspender harness, which is basically like one strap here, going down to a belt, to a leather belt, and a lifting point, because it can't get in your way of your arms, but it has to basically be able to grab you, but not throw you into the ship, because some of those you go wah, and stuff like that. So, getting all that down. That's another thing. Belfast and LS and LC shipyard, a lot of my stuff was done there. Just those guys. Labor was cheap though, but I mean, they're getting free food, 3 meals a day, clothes and shoes and everything. And basically, they're my people. They were my people. I like to hug them and squeeze them or hug them and shake their hands and basically say that, how much I cared about them, because I did. I was spending money like crazy, and they knew it too. I mean, all the new belts, and some of these belts, like I say, they were made up they were made in Germany, and then shipped to Belfast, to the LS shipyard and the LC shipyard. So like all my people wore safety harnesses. It was standard. So, and I made it standard because I had the money. So anyway, everyone used them and everyone wore them. If you're going to go up above 20 feet, or I think it was 25 feet was the limit, you had to have a safety harness on. Otherwise, you weren't going up. So, and the Germans did that, and I believe also the Irish and Belfast. They were taught to do that too, because otherwise, like my guys would say, you're not going to be the one going to your family and tell them why you're not around anymore. So. Because my supervisors would have to, I'd pay my supervisors to go and tell the family and the wife and the child, what happened to their person at the end of the day, or when it happens, that he's injured or dead, and sometimes, if it was a woman, she would, the women would go home with pay for a couple of days. Like I said, I would do like a week of pay for grief, and stuff like that, so the wife could, arrange for whatever, or say any words or whatever. And also just like, you just lost your person in this life. So that was something that was LS and LC. Like I said, I always cared about my people. So there was money set aside, basically. I was basically like, yeah, they get a week or two off, or a month. I think it was a month or two, whatever it was. So for anyone that fell to their death. So that's another thing too about LS and LC. I really, really, really cared about my people and really loved them. And every time someone died, like I said, I took it personally. I took it as, I didn't think of that. Why didn't I think of that? Like whenever anything would happen, I'd be like, why didn't I think about that? I should have known that was going to happen. And so I took it personally. So, it's who I am. It's who Brian is, it's one of those people that just always cared. So, anyway, it's kind of what made me so popular, made me so great also as well, is just how much I cared. Spending all the money doing what the wife gets a week off or a month off with pay, for her to feel better or whatever. And then later on getting counselors or whatever, people to talk to her. Like I'd pay people to go talk to the family or spend time with the family, or, because sometimes, it's like, you come here and then you're at my work site or in my town, and all of a sudden, all your dreams are destroyed. By one stupid little slip. You just let go for a second. Some of the people would be like, you just let go for a second, or, he was getting hit by a wrench or something like that, and then he's dead. And maybe he takes 2 or 3 down with him. So, and then, or maybe he takes a misstep or loses balance on top and dead forever. So, I cared, so, and my people, I think, cared as well.